Hello, all you elite block agents. Welcome to Nintendo Pow Block. I'm your host, the Lights Excited ADV. Joining me is the one, the only busman himself, Mr. Corey Dirrig. Hello, good sir.
Hello, Ed. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Happy Thanksgiving to you. Hopefully, everybody, you had a great Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving weekend. That hopefully you got some good deals on some Black Friday games. It seems like a lot of physical ones are really sparse at stores, but you can get a lot of them on the eShop, PSN, and Xbox store, and Steam and everything. And Corey, we've been off for a week. How does it feel like to take a week off?
I mean, I didn't just take a week off of podcasting. I took a week off of everything and work and, so, it feels all right. It's, it feels all right. And, I'm kind of, we weren't even going to record tonight even, but I wanted to not stay up late on Monday editing an episode and trying to get it up on Tuesday. So here we are. It's Thanksgiving evening, and we are both fat. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, yes, everyone, because me and Corey, we was chatting, and he posted a picture of his Thanksgiving meal, and that was my second Thanksgiving meal because my mom cooked and my sister cooked, and oh boy, both of them like literally clowned. So everybody, we're gonna get into Snacktendo, and yes, as we mentioned, Thanksgiving. At the time of this recording, my mom's made some potato salad. She did it in a different way. It wasn't like a normal potato salad. Whatever she did was so good. I think she did use some different ingredients or whatever. Man, I ate that potato salad up with the quickness, and then I just started working on the sides. We did have cranberry from the can, as we consider that as cranberry sauce.
Cranberry from the can.
Yeah, because someone said that was an argument that they were just like, if you're gonna do cranberry, it needs to be like kind of like the sauce kind with cranberries in it. They feel like the gelatin cranberry is not real cranberry. I'm just like, it's cranberry to me. If I could see that can design, some good cranberry in there, and plus it goes good with like mac and cheese or some of the other sides on there. My mom, she slow cooked turkey legs. That the meat was falling off the bones, and it was just nice and juicy. She make stuffing with homemade cornbread, or I should say box cornbread, but everything else she did was kind of like homemade. Baked mac and cheese. I had Canada Dry, some cranberry juice, mixed together. Like such a good treat for Thanksgiving. Normally we do it also at Christmas time, but we did it for Thanksgiving. I think my mom got eggnog too. So I got to go get some of the eggnog. I haven't had my eggnog yet for the holiday. And sweet potato pie. One of our associates, Wednesday, he brought us some rum cake, and I was just like, I don't need to eat this, but it was so good. So I just got one slice. I got one slice. No, because my manager 2 years ago, or in 2022 actually, she had went on vacation and she brought this Jamaican rum cake. And it was or some orange rum cake, I believe, and it was nice and juicy and everything, and it had the rum, and I ate like 8 to 9 pieces. I'm gonna be like, I feel like I'm gonna get a buzz or I'm gonna get drunk off this cake. So let me hold on. And every day I went in and eating that cake because it was so good. It was sweet, and then the rum kicked in. It's just like and everything. Um,
Wow.
but
Wow.
yeah, we got sweet potatoes downstairs in our kitchen, so I'm gonna go get some of that. Uh, and yeah, and greens. Definitely good greens and
Mm.
everything.
Good greens. That's what they say.
Well, because some people don't cook. They make greens, but they don't throw like the ham hock in it. They just throw it in and cook it. I'm just like, no, you gotta make sure the ham hock is in there. Then you gotta make sure the ham hock meat like falls off. And if you want to do salt, that's fine, but you really don't need to do the salt because the flavor is so good.
I don't even know what's in that. So you gotta, I don't know. Explain it a little bit more. I don't understand what any of it is.
uh, well, greens is just like it's almost like a leaf kind of thing. Um it's a different form. Not I don't want to say different form of spinach or anything, but um it's collard greens. Something like a very southern kind of food that a lot of black families make. But we shorten it down to green, called greens. It's kind of not so much like lettuce, but it's when you see it, it's like a deep green kind of leaf, um, item and everything.
Hmm.
So, um, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And then the ham hocks, uh, they're like they come from a pig, but it's to give the greens flavor and everything. So sometimes when you're scooping up the greens to get it, the flavor is in the juice, because you cook them in water.
Hmm.
So it's just the greens, the ham hocks, and water, and then you kind of let it boil and simmer and everything.
Hmm.
And it takes about, I think, like an hour or so. The way like you slow cook them in a sense in a big pot and
Hmm.
everything.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, good to know. Good to know. Put that in my back pocket.
yeah. It's it's. I know it's like southern slash soul food kind of thing, but when my mom makes it for Thanksgiving, it's of like family tradition
Hmm.
and everything.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Like our family tradition is not eating turkey on Thanksgiving.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we don't
Oh.
eat turkey on Thanksgiving. I feel like we have this conversation a lot, but
Well,
uh, like every
we do
Thanksgiving.
we do turkey and ham,
Yeah,
and everything.
yeah.
So
It just seems like more and more people don't care for turkey. It seems recently.
mhm.
Maybe I'm making that up, but that's kind of what it seems like.
I think it's like when you have a lot of people coming over, like a big family thing, you would throw in a turkey because it's a part of Thanksgiving tradition and stuff. But you
Right.
normally could do like any kind of meat and everything if you don't want to do Thanksgiving turkey and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because yeah, just like that. Like some people don't like turkey, um, like that. So they probably will switch like to ham or chicken or pot roast or whatever and everything.
Hmm. Cool. 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 Well, Ed, we had Thanksgiving today as well. Man, my mom made a lot of different things. She had some breakfast stuff like waffles and
Mm-hmm.
bacon and rolls and stuff like that, but she also had like dinner style stuff cuz, why not? She so we had a ham uh that everybody said was pretty good. I we also had these cheesy scalloped potatoes,
Ooh,
which were
yes.
really delicious, and I had like 20 billion helpings of. we also had, my mom also made these two different things. One was like bread, like stuffing, like normal stuffing, but she mixed it with creamed chicken, and so it had like creamed chicken and it wasn't dry, and like when you mix it up you got a flavoring of both, which was really delicious. It was really good, I gotta tell you. I gotta be honest with you here, Ed, it was really delicious.
Nice.
And then the other one was like this sausage based cheesy garlic potato casserole thing, and it also was
That's
very
new.
delicious. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
also pretty delicious.
my mom. She used to do the green bean casserole
Mm-hmm.
back in the day. But she didn't make like a big pot and stuff. And yeah, she did use French onion for it, and it just used to be. That used to be the last side everybody got because they didn't really care for it and everything. But
Mm-hmm.
like I will always get it so that some of the sauce could mix in with my food and everything. But I love green casserole, but she didn't make it this year. Now the cheesy potato scallions, oh those that I don't, did she cut it thin, the potatoes or anything?
Yeah, they were thin. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's the right way to make them and
Mm-hmm.
everything. And
Yeah.
they just taste so good. But sometimes I be like, do I mix this with bread or do I eat it by itself and everything? Because I do want some of the sauces like kind of touch the ham, ham and cheese and stuff. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
always just like, do I stuff it with bread or do I just eat it all by itself?
Yeah. It was I gotta be honest, it was really good. So that's kind of what we had. And then she also had cookies and cake and croissants with butter and that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna tell you that since I've been off, I have not eaten great the whole week. But also it's my week off, so I really don't care.
Right.
So that's that was it. That's what I ate, Ed. I also ate a bunch of pizza rolls this week, but don't worry about it.
I brought Domino's for the team for my night team yesterday. So we had, but I had the Supreme, and then I did a half pepperoni, half sausage, for people.
Nice.
And yeah,
Good job, Ed.
And that was it. So,
Good job. Good job.
well, everybody, it's time to get on with the show, and we're gonna talk about what we've been playing and playing with power. Corey, what have you been playing with power?
Oh boy. So first of all, I have to preface this by I got a new TV this week. It's a 65-inch Samsung QLED, and man, I gotta tell you, I tested out like 15 games on this thing, like Destiny and Halo and Mario Wonder and Zelda, and I'm playing I was playing Spider-Man 2 on it, and I gotta tell you, man, it's incredible. The way games look on this TV is amazing. It's so great. And the thing is too, is it has like, this TV has the it's 120 hertz TV, and it has variable refresh rate on it, so even if frames drop, it keeps the game smooth. And it a lot of the games that I was testing run up to 120 frames a second. Like Halo was incredible. It was running so smooth and so fast and colorful.
Infinite?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was one of the I mean, I just wanted to go back and replay every game I've ever played in my life. It's, the brightness is great. Like, it's just, best purchase I ever made. So it's that's kind of what I've been doing. I've been testing a lot of games. I also since the last time we recorded, I finished Miles Morales, Uh, I also just finished Spider-Man 2 yesterday. I've mainlined it. It was, you know, it's really short. My playtime on I don't know how accurate this is, but I only played it for like 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
I mainlined Spider-Man 2 story and I finished it in 10 hours.
So I talked to
Well,
Grayson about
11,
that
I think
because
maybe.
yeah, I talked to Grayson about that because he was doing the guide for Game Rent, and he was just like, yeah, if you mainline everything, yeah, it's about a 8 to 10 hour ordeal. You might
Mhm.
do some side stuff just to see how it is. Then you
Yeah.
just like, yeah, if you go straight through it, it's because they was like it's not too hard or anything. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I played it on whatever the easy mode is cuz I don't,
mhm,
I just wanted to play through it for the story and whatever. Uh, so that those are like the main two games I've been playing. Also Mario Wonder, but I know this isn't a PlayStation podcast, but I want to talk about Spider-Man real quick. So it's funny playing them all back to back. Like I play, the main games I've been playing. So I finished Spider-Man Remastered, and then I went right into Miles Morales, and then I went right into
mhm,
Spider-Man 2. I think finishing all three games probably took me less than 35 hours for all three. Um, and maybe less than that, maybe like around 30 for all three. Now, again, that's not all of the side stuff, and uh, that's kind of trying to mainline the stories. And I did the DLC for Spider-Man Remastered, The City That Never Sleeps, and that took me about 3 hours, 4 hours, five, maybe five to complete, somewhere around
mhm,
there. I So I liked Spider-Man. I didn't love it, the first one. Um, like I liked it. It was fine. It's fun. There's a lot of Arkham Asylum in it. Actually, it feels a lot like the combat feels a lot like Arkham. Uh, and then I went into Miles Morales, and I think Miles Morales is out of the three games, Miles Morales is by
mhm.
far the best. It's by far the best,
So
in my opinion.
I that's one of my Black Friday games that I picked up from Best Buy, the PS4 version, for like
Mm,
$20.
hmm.
So I'm gonna
Yeah,
pick it up tomorrow or maybe Saturday.
mm.
Um, but then I actually need to fit. I might just have to go and just mainline uh Spider Man for PS4. Um,
Yeah, man, that game. We talked about it before, but I think Spider-Man One has some pacing issues.
mhm,
It's like the first two acts are kind of drawn out, and then the last act, especially like the last half of the last act, is like all the entire story is like crammed into like this half of an act. Uh, but overall, Miles Morales is the best one in my opinion. I think Miles is a way more interesting character, and maybe that's just because I don't know a lot about him
mhm,
as because like even as someone who's not a huge Spider-Man fan, like I've seen all the I've seen all the movies, and maybe it's the fact that I've been seeing Spider-Man visually and know the story for 25 years that it made Miles more of a compelling character, right? But and granted, they changed some of the story stuff up, and they made some whatever in Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2, but uh I don't know, Miles just seemed like a more interesting character. He's his backstory is really interesting, and just the characters that like his spoilers I guess for Miles Morales, but his uncle is the Prowler, which is like I wouldn't say he's a villain, I would say he's more of an anti-hero. uh
it's in the movies.
Yeah, see. Yeah, I mean, I've never seen Into the Spider-Verse, so I can't tell you what's going on. But his friend Finn is really interesting in their friendship, and kind of like, I kind of like you. I don't know, kind of because they're in high school, right? I mean, it's that kind of
Yeah.
high school thing. Uh, I think his combat is way more interesting than Peter's like the electricity makes the combat more interesting. His gadgets are more interesting. His suits are cooler. uh, but and then I just beat Spider-Man 2 last night, and again, like the story in this one, I think the story was more interesting than the first one, in my opinion. I don't know what people think of it, but compared to the first one, but I thought the story was way more interesting. But again, the pacing of the story is like, you know, I understand that, like, obviously, like, Venom is like the big draw, right? In this one,
Yeah.
And the way they change the story of Venom is really interesting. Uh, and Peter and MJ's interaction with Harry, because he's been, you know, he's getting better. In the first one, he's like really sick in a tank, right? And in this one, he's like really Harry's really interesting, and uh, his friendship with Peter is compelling. But like, I still felt like Miles' story in this game, even though it was not explored as much as I wanted it to be,
Mm-hmm.
is still more compelling because of the events of the first Spider-Man game and his relationship to that, mixed with Spider-Man Miles Morales. Like, his story is way more compelling in this game. And where was I going? Oh, I was talking about Venom. Like, the first like 2/3 of the game focus on Kraven the Hunter, and
Right, because that's what they advertise it on
mhm, mhm.
for this game.
Yeah, but I would almost say this game's main villain is Kraven in a way. I mean, at the end of the day, it's Venom is the villain, right? But like,
Mm-hmm.
I think the main villain is Kraven, and then obviously Peter gets the symbiote, and that story has a very interesting kind of twist, and I don't know, man. I liked the story in the second one a lot. I just wish like the pacing was way better, uh, because they start hinting at like the Venom stuff like way early, like
Yeah.
real early, and then you don't get to the Venom stuff until like I guess this. I don't want to spoil it, but like way late in the game, you don't get it, and it doesn't last long. So, you know,
Because I'm getting like Resident Evil Village with the lady, and then at the point I guess she gets killed. All spoilers. That's it for her, and then it's just like, okay, what we do for the rest of the game?
yeah. Well, she's not the main villain of Village, from what I understand.
Yeah,
there's four like side like villains in that game, and then there's like one
yeah,
main villain who they all kind of work for, right?
yes. It's just that with the advertising, she was the focus of it, and so it kind of feels like with Spider-Man 2, Craven was the focus of being the villain. It did, but when you actually get into the game, that kind of goes away. But I guess that goes away later on in the game, so they can bring in Venom.
Yeah, but I also think in Resident Evil Village's case, like the game, the initial marketing for that game wasn't revolving around her. It was just revolving around the atmosphere and some of the characters that you'd meet, and she's the
Yeah.
one that everybody got thirsty for, and then they changed the
Well,
marketing later to
well,
make it focus on her.
well, yes, but it's you would think that there would be some kind of build up to who is the main villain, and I guess because they feature her predominantly in a lot of the directs and marketing and stuff, I guess it was given the idea that she was the main villain in her thing.
Yeah.
Like she was the like next Wesker or something like that. Um, but people did, I guess, didn't know that. Uh, when she made her exit, they were just like, "Okay, we got more for you, but we're not going to tell you what it is. You got to find out on yourself."
Yeah. So I didn't really, I don't know. I enjoyed it. It's really fun to play, but like I actually think the weakest part is it's not the story itself, it's the pacing of the story. And like
Mm-hmm.
I think they what I wish they would have done is just like made this Peter and Harry's story and then made Miles Morales to do his story, right? I don't like that they like the character switching. I feel like it took away from like focusing on the one thing, right? And so,
Mm-hmm.
and I understand like Miles was a very integral part of Peter's story in this game, and I actually really like the way it ended, and I'm wondering what they're going to do moving forward. There's clearly going to be a third game,
Yeah,
right?
and
But
Miles is the front man for that one.
I mean, I don't know if he is because Harry's story is not finished, I'll say.
Mm-hmm. Well, it
I don't want to. I know that they said Miles is the main Spider-Man moving forward, and
yeah.
I see that in the way this story progressed. I 100% agree they should do that, especially with some of the story elements in the game. But like the next, the way it certain events play out to make it the third game is going to revolve around Peter and Harry. So how are you going to make Miles the main Spider-Man? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
unless they change stuff up like they have been doing, but like they very clearly set up Harry and Peter's relationship as their best friends, right? And which is very clear in a lot of the movies. So like how are you going to shift
Concluded.
that friendship and involve Miles more heavily, because Harry and Miles, they meet in this game, but they're not friends. They're barely acquaintances. So
If they have two options, so they could do it as DLC before 3, or Insomniac is going to probably end up changing the story. Um, that it, Miles will have his own story, but
mhm.
they're going to incorporate that and play around with
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean,
It's not going to be a Gears 4 situation or anything, but
yeah.
it's going to
My
be they're going to have to do something with it.
yeah. I think for me the main thing is that if they want Miles to be the main Spider-Man moving forward, they have to conclude Peter's story,
Mm-hmm.
right? And like, yes, things happen in the third act that show you that Miles will be the main Spider-Man moving forward, but that doesn't mean Peter's story is finished. And so
They need to
I'm
conclude it.
yeah, I don't know how they're gonna, especially because like the mid and end credit scene involve things from the first game that
Mm-hmm.
involve Peter also. So like I get that you want to make Miles your main Spider-Man, and you should, because I think just from a gameplay perspective and certain other things, he's more interesting of a character to play as well as like just his story in general. But like you have to finish Peter's story, and I don't know if that comes in a like a standalone spin-off the way that Miles Morales was, or DLC for 2, or what. But I think you have to finish Peter's story before you
Well,
move on to Miles.
I think I have more of a feeling it's going to be DLC because with Miles, I mean, like he still has another movie for him and for the animated movie, like
Yeah.
that one left off of a cliffhanger,
Well,
and
they're also
so
going to try to work him into the MCU at some point too. You know,
mm,
I mean, I think they kind of.
I don't even know what the MCU is now
Oh, I
because
know nobody does.
after the Avengers, I'm like, well, isn't it wrapped up in all these other people? But then I'm just like Disney and all the other
Here,
stuff. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, I think for me, my interest in the my heavy interest in the MCU ended at Endgame. right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and like I watch the stuff that's happening now, like, but I'm not keeping up with it the way I used to, and maybe that's
Right.
because my life has changed so much in the last 4 years, or I thought Endgame was a great ending to this and they just continued. But, uh, I didn't really, I thought the last Spider-Man movie was cool, but I don't think it was great. I didn't think Doctor Strange was great. I liked WandaVision. I liked, uh, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I liked Secret Wars. I know people don't really like that one, but I liked it. It was fun. But I don't I don't know what's going on. I have no idea what's going on. Everything just feels kind of random right now, and that I think that's how we felt about Phase 2 of the Infinity Saga or whatever they're calling it, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
where Iron Man 3 felt kind of random, and uh, Thor 2 sucked. The only good movie in Phase 2 for me was Captain America, Winter Soldier.
Yeah, that
Uh,
was so good.
but like they didn't really weave everything back together until after Age of Ultron, and then a lot of it made sense, and those movies retroactively made sense and felt better, right? But
Hmm.
I don't know, man. I don't really know what's going on. And now there's all these
It's
rumors that they're moving away from the main character the main villain that they just set up in like 3 or 4 of these things,
it's
because
just
that actor is like
it's
whatever. But I don't know,
it's
man.
so weird talking about comic universes
I know.
and
And now the X-Men are
how
back, but like the Fox X-Men and not the not the new ones.
oh yeah.
So who
Uh,
knows? I don't know.
yeah, there was a person uh who was kind of concerned, I should say, about Insomniac. He was just like, it's great that they put out a great Spider-Man game, and I can't wait to look forward for a Wolverine game.
Hmm.
But I hope Insomniac doesn't become the Marvel side of Sony. They were just like,
Yeah.
and I was just like, well, Insomniac is probably working on some original stuff, but I think because of the contracts that they have and the success that they have with these comic games, they're going to present those out because it makes a good business sense to them. Um, if Insomniac does get back to their original IP, you probably won't see it to their next console or anything.
Mm,
And I'm not saying that
well,
Ratchet and Clank last game wasn't better or anything, but um, Sony sees was Insomniac is Insomniac has always made great games. I'm not gonna lie. Even Fuse has had its problems and stuff, but they are a very talented team, and so for them to make two like licensed property games and stuff, they know that their creativity is in their original IP. It's just at this moment right now that because of their great talent making great games and very successful games with the numbers that they sell, Sony's going to be like, well, you guys could take these properties, make a game out of it, and it becomes a success and
mhm.
everything. So
Yeah,
we're going to keep you guys on that just for a bit, but you still in the background can still make your own games or
yeah.
make
My
games.
my my only thing for that though is that they have two studios, right? I mean, they have two locations and they have three
Mm-hmm.
teams. The two teams in the main North Carolina studio, and then one out west, right? And I think that's why they're able to pump some of this stuff out quickly, right? Is because they have three teams, and one is very clearly the Marvel team, right? I think their main team is very clearly the Marvel team. I think
Mm-hmm.
one is kind of like a Ratchet and Clank team, and then the team in the middle maybe starts new ideas, or is kind of like a pre-pro or V. I know that third team did some VR projects, and uh, but I don't think they're going to become just a Marvel house. I think they're going to continue to do Ratchet and Clank. I think they're going to continue to maybe I mean I wouldn't be surprised if there's another Sunset Overdrive in development, and that'll be on PlayStation at some point. But
Yeah.
I mean, Marvel sells. Let's be honest, Spider-Man sells. It's the best. Marvel or Spider-Man 1 is the best selling Sony published product of all time. So,
I mean, and that's why I said I'm like, because it comes from Insomniac. It comes from
mhm.
a very talented. Like, we wouldn't have this discussion if this stuff was still on Activision. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. I'm like, and folks can't deny that. I'm like, you talk more about Spider Man because Insomniac made it, and you know their games, and people barely talked about the Activision games. And I'm not gonna get more into that, but it just shows how the conversation of a well-known developer making games could get more traction than another well-known developer who has made games for that series get less discussion.
hmm Yeah. I Yeah. I mean, I think Insomniac's a great studio. They have a lot of talent, and I hope they continue to make great games. And I know I just kind of I don't want to make it sound like I bashed on Spider-Man. They are excellent games. They're really, really, really fun to play. I'm just talking from like a story perspective and
Mm-hmm.
um, pacing wise for the story and the characters that are interesting to me. I think they need to kind of tighten that stuff up. But like, there's no doubt that the game is fun and it's fun to swing around the city and combat's fun. Uh, I mean, like I said, though, originally, like I've been playing this Spider-Man game for 28 years, but this is just a way better, more polished version of those games, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Insomniac does great stuff, and I'm excited to see. Like I'm invested now, and I'm really excited to see uh, what they do next with Spider-Man and Wolverine. Like, it's funny, spoilers, I guess, for unlockables, but there's a Wolverine suit for Miles in Spider-Man 2 that you can
I'm not
unlock.
surprised.
But you have to beat it on the hardest difficulty, and I'm not going to go do that. But I'm really excited for Wolverine, though. I mean, that's my most anticipated PlayStation game by far.
Okay.
And then I played some Mario Wonder, which looks great on this TV as well.
Nice.
Man, dude, it's so fun the way the screen works. It like gives a depth of field to these games that doesn't
Mm-hmm.
exist on my other TV. And I don't know if it's just that either, the HDR stuff that, or, like, I guess Switch doesn't have HDR, but you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that, like the depth of field in these games looks incredible. And I don't know how they do it. It almost looks like when you would turn the 3D on your 3DS, but the games that worked, it
Yeah.
almost has that effect on my eyes. But let me restart. I don't know if you've watched an animated Disney movie on a 4K TV, like one of the older ones, like from like the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and you can see the what do you call them? The panels that the art is painted on.
Yeah.
And like you can really tell on a 4K TV when they're like 4K remastered.
Yeah.
That's kind of what Mario Wonder reminds me of like everything in the foreground is super crisp and like, beautifully rendered. And then there's like a cell behind it. They're called cells. A cell behind it with like the next thing, and then a cell behind that, and the next thing. It looks incredible. It looks really, really good. Um, I was too busy not paying attention to playing Mario Wonder because I was too busy looking at it and like the ways the animations pop on screen on this,
Yeah.
and I did try Zelda out a little bit. Zelda's really I love the way Zelda looks. It kind of looks like Zelda is running at a lower resolution, like maybe like a
Mm.
900p. I don't know. Maybe I just noticed that because I've been playing, you know, the the Xbox games at 4K 120 hertz when available.
Yeah.
uh, but I don't know. There's something about Zelda that looks kind of, I don't want to say bad, but it looks weird. Maybe I just need to spend more time with it. It was dark, like it was nighttime in the
Breath or
game and it was
tears?
raining. Tears.
Okay.
It was a little bit dark. It was nighttime in the game and it was raining, and sometimes when it rains, everything has that shiny, glossy look to it
Yeah.
in the game anyway. Uh, but Zelda didn't look as good as I thought it was going to. But I'll play it later. I'll try again at another point. What looks great on it though. Those new Mario Kart tracks look great on this TV.
Oh, you played it?
Some of them, yeah, I played some of them, and man, Mario Kart 8 is still an incredible looking game. Even 10 years later, 11 or 9, 10 years later, looks so good, man. Sorry, I really love this TV, and that's like all I want to talk about right now. So it was worth the getting rid of stuff and buying stuff, and it's great. So cool.
All right.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to take up that much time.
No, that's okay. Well, for me, I've been playing 9 Years of Shadow. This comes from Halbred Studios. It's a independent Metroidvania style game. More Metroid than Castlevania. It it it's a great game. It looks beautiful, great animation and everything. It's like a 16-bit pixel kind of art style. Um, it's not too long. It's a weird balance in the difficulty. So you can like fight enemies and fight like mid bosses and stuff, and won't have a hard time with them. But when you get to like a boss, they take off. Is one of those problems that they take off too much energy, and because you have to, um, there's two ways to get energy because there's no health bars that dropped or no replacement or anything. You had to hold this floating ghost, who was a teddy bear, to get your energy back, or you had to time this little bar that moves around and hit it in this blue area so that you get your energy back. But it's kind of because the game is so busy when you're fighting like a boss, you may miss the timing on doing the bar one. So your best bet is kind of like taking some time to hopefully um squeeze the bear, charge it up so you get your energy back. But yeah, like the bosses, they're gonna make you like you'll probably have to fight them 5 to 7 times and hope for the best at times for it. I mean, it's not a bad game. Um, but I think the bosses is just is the bosses are just not challenging, but they just take off way too much energy. The same it's the Alan Wake problem that they're not hard, but they're difficult in a way because they take off too much energy when you get hurt. Um, the added thing for Alan Wake though is like bad camera angles too and stuff. So I've been playing that. I'm on the final boss. I just gotta fight him and beat him, and he does the 4 phase kind of challenge where it's like you fight him for 3 phases and then you gotta fight him on the 4th phase to actually beat him. And the thing about it is you don't get no energy back because of some things, and it's just like, oh, are you serious? um so yeah, that's not just a shadow. I've been playing with my friend Trevor. So with Borderlands 2, we've been making a lot of progress on there, having a lot of a bunch of fun and stuff. We're like halfway through the game, so we just gotta progress more with that. I did pick up Super Mario RPG but I haven't started yet because of the other games I've been playing. Started up Control Ultimate Edition for Series X. Really enjoying it this time. It feels easier this time, even though there's some parts that I have died. It feels very easier, and I think it's because of going through knowing what to do, but like actually having that frame rate a little bit faster and everything, but the performance. So I'm enjoying that. Started Gotham Knights on Series X. Um, I'm playing as Robin, but not not Red Robin or Nightwing, but the Robin and everything.
Mhm.
Great cutscenes and everything. It looks really really good on Series X in this cutscenes. Very detailed. I'm like, okay, uh, this is really good, but I just got to start playing more of it and unlocking stuff and getting through the game. So I'm working on that. I did start Immortals. Um, Enjoying that. I just got to start playing some more. I'm trying to get to a point where I could do some exploring and side missions and everything. So that's pretty much it from what I've been playing. Like with Switch and Series X. Um, I did order some games. I had to cancel my Hogwarts Legacy from Best Buy because Target had it a little bit cheaper. But I won't get that game until Monday. So when I get it for my Series X, I'll pop it in, give it a play, and give my thoughts. But yeah, I did pick up like about 4 games for it. I just picked up Dead Island 2, Remnant 2, um, and then 2 more games and stuff. I really didn't get anything for Nintendo, and I didn't get no PlayStation games besides Miles Morales. That's the only one. Like I said earlier, the Black Friday deals for games is just like non-existent.
Yeah.
For I'm just like, or even if they are, there, it's just like most of the games are like $40. So they like only like went down 20 some dollars for some
Yeah.
games.
Yeah. The deals weren't great. I mean, even digital sales weren't great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was it was hmm, I don't know,
It's
man.
a, it feels like another bummer year for Black Friday for games. And it's just like we had a awesome year for games. And it's just like, well, it doesn't make sense to buy Resident Evil 4 Dead Space remake because like a lot of people own those games and
Yeah.
everything. Um, and of course Nintendo gonna do what Nintendo does and everything, but it's just like what happened to the deals? You
Right.
know.
Yeah. I mean, I get it, I guess. It's just I don't know. It's a weird time for games. I think the deals could have been better. Like Target didn't even have their buy two get one this year. I mean, they had it on movies, CDs,
Yeah,
and media, but that did not include games, which
games.
was weird because they
Yeah.
always have that at Thanksgiving.
And then well, it really feels like they're getting rid of their game section because just in the store. Because I'm like, the way that I seen the PlayStation and Xbox section, they like 75% of those games that was there are almost gone. I'm like, what the heck is this? Like, I understand all the Nintendo stuff being there, but I'm like, this section keeps feeling like it's reduced and reduced. Same thing with
Well,
Best Buy. Like,
I think most of these places are going to get rid of they're going to get rid of physical games at some point. I mean, Best Buy. I mean, I don't know if you've seen their DVD sales, but they're getting rid of all media next year, which is nuts, except for games. And Walmart is going to stop carrying physical games at some point. So, well, at least on the Xbox side, they are, which
mhm.
that doesn't surprise me the way that Xbox is going, but you know what I mean? Like, it's just weird.
Yeah, it's just Yeah, I don't know. It's so well this there's a pro and a con to this in a sense.
Hmm.
The con part is that that's there's going to be less choice to buy games physically and everything.
Hmm.
Even Nintendo stuff. But I think the pro to this, and depending on if you're going to root for it like this or not, some people may consider that's a con. I'm like, this might just be helping GameStop with its business. Because if they're going to be the place, if they're going to be
Yeah.
the place to go to get physical games, and it's not a forced monopoly or anything, it's just that
Yeah.
these businesses made a decision to do that. Yeah, you still have Amazon, but like, you have to be a subscribed member of Amazon to get your game on the day that it comes out, and people don't want to do that or stuff, you
Yeah.
know. And with limited space for digital purchases, like how the heck you gonna play? Even if you have Game Pass, how the heck you gonna play Call of Duty if it's going up to close to 250 gigabytes and you have a 1 terabyte? Even with your up, when you get literally done taking off all your games and have the updates, you only literally have, dude, I couldn't believe this, only have 750 gigabytes worth of space if I took all of my games off because of all the updates that came to my Series X.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I know there's an SD card, but it's just like I shouldn't have to purchase more space like that um to save my games or anything.
Yeah, I mean, these consoles are going to have to start coming with bigger hard drives, which I think by what, 2028, 2029 is when these next ones are supposed to come out. I
Mm-hmm.
think I think that those hard drives are going to be more like 4 terabyte instead of 1. And hopefully they figure
Shoot.
out like how to not compress assets, because I don't think they're going to do that, but like the way that assets are stored and rendered on screen, which was like the big draw for these. Everybody said, "Oh, well, the way these games render, once we get away from last generation, these games are going to become smaller." And like so far, they're they're not smaller, we'll say. So, you know.
Correct.
Uh so I don't know, man. I don't know what's happening with games right now. I just want it to be, I mean, for me, I don't care if physical copies go away. That I have physical copies of the games that I love, but even then, like especially on Switch, like the games are on the carts, right? Most of them. Nintendo games are on the carts and usually
Yeah.
don't need patched to run, right? So I have physical copies of those games that I love, except for Mario Wonder right now, but I'll get it eventually. But for Xbox, like you look at something like Starfield or Redfall or even Halo Infinite, where like it only has like a quarter of the game on disc. And so like you have to download the update. So it's like, what's the point at this point for
Yeah.
those? I mean, it's the same way with PlayStation, although their first party, I think, is pretty good at trying to keep the game on the disc for the most part. Uh,
It's the licensing fear with the digital stuff
yeah,
that everybody's concerned. That's the number one thing.
yeah. It's
You
I
know.
don't know, man. I just hope that they figure all this out and you know,
Yeah, because we don't want a PT situation and everything. So, but we'll
yeah,
see
I
in the
think
future what happens.
yeah, I think what's going to happen eventually, and I'm not talking like it's at least maybe 5 to 10 years away, maybe even starting next generation.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want a physical copy, you're going to have to go through someone like Super Rare or Limited Run or something to get them, or maybe like they set up their own, hey, if you want a physical copy, you have to order through us. There's a limited amount type thing.
Just think about how many websites that you have to go to order games.
I only go to Amazon, so it doesn't matter.
Well, yeah. I understand that being like the one all be all, but I'm just like trying to go to that company who publish and or develop the game and stuff to get this into your house.
Yeah.
You know, that's a lot of charges on your credit card instead of it being kind of like all in one place, like Amazon. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
so.
Uh,
And I know someone out there should say, "Well, there is Steam and Epic Games." I'm like, yeah, but that's PC. We're talking about console.
yeah. I don't like PC jerks. Although I
So.
do really like the look of that new OLED Steam Deck.
Someone has a video of it. They were showing like
I mean, they're out.
running a game of it.
Yeah, I mean, they're out though. Like you can buy one. So I don't know that
Yeah, like
I would like to. The thing is though, with the Steam Deck, you would have to like side load Windows and do all these things to get like a Game Pass native machine, and I really am not the person to do that. So I mean, I've been staring at the ROG Ally for like I don't since it was announced really, but I know they have all kinds of problems with like memory card readers getting too hot and not reading the memory card at all, and the fans not work. There's a lot of issues that I don't want to have to deal with either, and I would rather buy a first party device and not a third party one. So, I would consider the Steam Deck a first party device, right? Because Valve produces it and creates it, whereas Xbox has been promoting the ROG Ally as their Xbox handheld, and it's not made by Microsoft, so I don't trust it. And there's like varying degrees on how well people respond to Republic of Gamers as a brand because of the quality.
Yeah.
And I know Asus makes Asus. I've heard it both ways. I don't know, and I don't care. I know that they are a pretty respected brand, but Republic of Gamers is like their sub brand for gaming, and people don't seem to care about it really, at least from what I've looked at. Again, I'm not a PC gamer. I don't know, and again, I don't care. But I would trust a Steam Deck way more than I would a ROG Ally at this point. So, and I know LeBron loves his. I said LeBron. LeBron loves his, and that's great. I'm glad he loves it, but he's also a PC dork, so he knows how to do all that stuff, and I just don't want to take the time to learn how for that.
Yeah.
Especially at that price point. Mm-mm.
Nah. I'm good with my Switch. Like,
yeah, but you can't play Destiny on the Switch yet.
Was I playing Destiny on Series X?
No,
I brought the game.
I'm talking about me. I don't care about you. I'm talking about me.
You said that you can't play Destiny. So when you said I replied back.
Oh, tomato.
It's a little tomato. Even though some good tomato soup with grilled cheese, it's good.
Yeah, I mean, I would take that. Dude.
On a good cool day.
You know what you do? You do the grilled cheese, and instead of butter on it to make it crispy, you put mayonnaise on it, and then you put a little bit of mayonnaise on the inside. You put cheese and then bacon, and then a tomato. I tell you, it's like a grilled cheese BLT without the L.
Right. Well, grilled BT. Well, BMT.
Yeah.
Because of the mayo. I never thought you could cook mayo in a pan.
Yeah. It's interesting, we'll say. Most people don't know that a lot of food at like restaurants you go to,
yeah,
a lot of it, or not a lot of it, but some of the stuff they cook is mayo based. And you put a big slap of mayo on the grill instead of butter.
Yeah.
So.
Well, everybody, it's time for Family News. And this week or this episode of Nintendo Pow Block, we're going to only be focusing on the Game Awards because the nominations have came out. Hopefully, you guys were able to vote for your Game of the Year and other choices. Corey, do you want me to do the nominees, or do we got
Well,
everything? Or
before we get into the Game Awards themselves, Ed, I just want to. I know we like to poke fun at Jeff Keighley a lot, because of his friendship with Kojima and just him being
Mhm.
everywhere in the game space and like, Summer Game Fest and the Game Awards and stuff where like, you know, Summer Game Fest is not a great name, but if you think about it, neither is E3 or 90% of the consoles that come out have great names. So, you know, but I just want to say, like, I appreciate what he's done for our industry and trying to make video games um, a respected industry where, most people still
Mhm.
think games are for kids. And I get it. Right. But like, he's done a lot for the industry, especially in like the last decade or so. I just want to give him credit for doing that. And I think what he does with the Game Awards, I know there's a lot of announcements and promotional stuff and marketing for games and other things, right? Commercials and stuff for
Yes.
them. But, he couldn't put on the show that we watch every year for pennies, and I just think he does a great job of putting these things on, even though we kind of poke fun at him a lot. And I think he does a great job with the Game Awards.
It's I agree. I think it's just that sometimes he feels a little bit dry, and it feels like okay, you're trying to be professional, but I'm like, be a little bit more excited at sometimes, and I think we just still sometimes just want more diverse games and stuff in categories, and I understand how all of these get nominated first before we can even have a say for them. But I think because in within the year we have so many great games, and yeah, even though you get to choose six, sometimes it feels like out of all the games that we have, there should be more different. There should be a variety of nominations for some categories and stuff. Like, I'm sorry, all the esports stuff and the content creator stuff. I'm sorry, all of that needs to be cut
See, but
because
there's a audience that's interested in that, and I
that
don't blame
yes,
him for trying. You know what I mean?
yes, I do understand that, but I think for him, it for a show like this and people who are doing the voting and stuff, a lot of people don't know about that esports stuff or the content creators. So if Jeff Keighley could give us more of a heads up on who they are and what they're doing, or like even interviewing, like get us kind of like help us recognize who they are before the Game Awards. um I think we would have it would think I think it would make it easier to for us to accept and do the voting and stuff because you gave these people some highlights. When some people just like I got to the esports stuff and I just stopped voting because they didn't
Mhm.
know who it is and
Yeah, but
stuff.
you don't have
So
to. You don't have to vote for the categories that you don't know who they are, though. That's the thing, too, right?
yeah, but I think it just feels like with that it feels like a disservice in a sense.
I mean, I do
Um,
think they should do more with those categories if they're going to have them instead of regulating them to like how they just announce awards during some other things, right? Like, we don't really care about this award, but we have to have
mhm.
it. So it's, like best fighting game last year. The winner was announced during like the pre-show or, you know what I mean? It wasn't part of the main show. It was just this side thing, and I, I don't know. I think if you're going to have these categories, you got to have representation there, like people there to talk to, or like you said, interview them or something like that.
Yeah.
So
So
I don't know. But I do appreciate him really trying to put these things on the map. You know,
Yes, I
I
agree.
think he is doing a great job at that for the most part.
Also, hopefully he has some better security, and folks just don't walk on trying to speak to
Yeah,
him or
get some
get on
security out
stage.
there, dude.
You got
Uh,
money to get these ads, but you don't got the money for security. Yeah. So, well, Corey, you want to get into it?
yeah, I suppose we should probably do that, right? Let me bring up the nominees here. All right, where do we so I don't think we need to do every category. I think what we should do is each of us pick 3 or 4 categories that we want to talk about and then do game of the year last as a group thing. You
Okay.
know, I just I mean, I don't think we need to do, best family game or, best adaptation or anything. I mean, I guess we could do that one, but you know what I mean? Like most anticipated game. Oh, okay, sure. Or you know what I mean? Especially like those
Yeah.
last 6 or 7 uh what do you call it? Categories, content creator of the year, us. You know what I mean? Like I don't think we need to do
Yeah.
all that. But I think if we pick 3 or 4 best mobile game, I don't think we need to do best VR AR game. I don't think we need to do. So if we want to, how many do we want to do each? 3? You think we should do 3? We'll cover a lot of them by doing 3
Uh,
each.
I think let's do 4.
4? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to go first, Ed.
Okay.
I'm going to go first. I think, let's see. I want to check out best action adventure game, Ed. I want to talk about the nominees here. So there are 5 nominees here. It's Alan Wake 2, Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and Tears of the Kingdom. Uh, I think here's the thing for me. I don't know if Resident Evil 4 deserves to be here because it's a remake of a game that plays very similarly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if this was like a Resident Evil 2 remake, yeah, put it in there because it's totally different from the original, right? But Resident Evil 4 is like a prettier version with quality of life elements to it, right? I mean, it's not that different. Um, so I question it, but also I don't know what else are you going to put there. I haven't played Alan Wake 2. I hear from the industry, I hear positive things, but to people I really listen to, I hear very mixed things on Alan Wake 2. Um, so I mean, based on what I didn't like on the first game, you know. But is there anything in this category that you think should be here and isn't?
Um.
Hmm.
So I think that's the thing about it. Just like action adventure, there's got to be something. Because I don't think Resident Evil 4 needs to be on here. Because like, even though that is an action game, it's not so much a adventure or anything. Same thing with Alan Wake 2. Those games are not adventure games.
Mhm.
Or have any adventure aspect and stuff to it because it's so linear, and then you got parts like chapters and stuff that's ending. You can't really explore in those games. With Alan Wake and Resident Evil 4. Like with Marvel, Star Wars, and Zelda, those are they have action in them, but it's a world that you can adventure in. And it kind of feels like these are more open world games in a sense, um, than anything that is level based and stuff. So, because even if they had Dead Space, I feel like that is still more survival horror kind of game. for it. I would have put Metroid Prime Remastered in here. And regardless what everybody say, look, that game got a 93 on Metacritic. Um, it's kind of new to a lot of people who didn't own a GameCube. It is action and it is adventure that you can explore. So I my thing would be I would take Alan Wake 2 and Resident Evil 4 off and put put a Metro Prime Remastered in there. Um
Hmm.
Hi-Fi Rush is more of an action game, so I couldn't put that in there. Um yeah, I think I would just have those 4 games as a category and stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I guess you have to fill out the roster, but uh, I feel like to me, out of all of these, the best action, but I would say Star Wars was actually my favorite out of something like this category this year. Because I did play 4 of the 5 games in this list. I think Zelda was fun, but definitely didn't have the impact that Breath of the Wild did for me. I think it felt like more of the same, which is fine, right? But also,
Mhm.
it didn't do anything to stand out from the last one. I also think Spider-Man 2, as great as it was, and the quality of life things and like the wing glider suit really helped, make the game feel fresh. And some of Miles' new powers and Peter's new powers felt like it was fresh, but it just felt like a natural progression of the combat rather than like making it feel, uh, really um, different. And I guess you could say the same about Star Wars also, but I feel like the combat in Star Wars, they didn't Metroid you in this, where like they give you all your powers and then take them away. You
Mhm.
have your powers from the first game, or at least most of them, and then they build on that and introduce some new interesting powers to the point where for me that stuck out above the other games. And so for me, I think Star Wars would win this category for me personally.
So, for me, same. I played the 4 out of 5. So Spider Man is just out of it. Because I don't own the PS5. Alan Wake 2 is good in presentation, but because of the difficulty and some of the gunplay, it's mostly the bosses are unfair and everything, and it's an unbalanced game in a sense. Resident Evil 4, I would put that higher than Alan Wake, even though we've done that already, and you could have experienced Resident Evil 4 on all systems before this remake. Star Wars Jedi Survivor. It's a great game. Don't get me wrong, but it did have some problems in the beginning. The PC version, I think, is still messed up. Um, there were some cheap, some cheap things in it. But I did enjoy it. For me, it's gonna be The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. And before everybody say, "Oh, because it's a Nintendo game," there was so much that I got out of this game. Even though I got a lot out of Breath of the Wild, there was so much of Tears of the Kingdom that I got out of this game that if I'm going to go on an adventure and see what this game has to offer me as an adventure game, this would fit the bill. This literally would fit it and everything. Like I laughed, I screamed, I got some horror stuff. I've been through some of the dungeons and everything. The boss fights, as challenging as they weren't too difficult. They were actually kind of cool, going through them. And it's a once again, it's trying to portray a story that we normally don't get in a Zelda game that we pay attention to. But I'm like, there's still so much stuff that I got to explore and adventure, and then exploring the deep end, the deep end, exploring the sky. Like that's a adventure that you got to see. It offered you a lot. So my vote would be for my vote is the Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
Hmm. Okay. All right. Well, Ed, I guess it's your category now.
Okay. So, um, give me 1 second.
Nope.
Because I was looking at
Chop
the
chop.
nominees for yours.
It's time.
So, um, best RPG. I I I want to talk about. So for best RPG, they have Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, Liza P, Sea of Stars, Starfield.
Hmm.
So, uh we got, you know, Baldur's Gate 3, which was an early access first on PC, but now it's on PlayStation and it's more available. A lot of people are enjoying it. I can't say anything much about it because I
Mm-hmm.
haven't played the game. It's not on Series X yet. Final Fantasy 16 is a more action style game. But people love the performance. The game looks great and movement and everything. Liza P is just it takes Pinocchio and turns it on the side, and it's a Souls game.
I
You
hear you
know
fight Walt
everything.
Disney at the end.
I wish. um,
That's a joke, everybody.
Sea of Stars is a great indie game. It plays homage to Chrono Trigger, and it has that kind of battle with a really good story, great animation and everything. And Starfield, is a Bethesda space exploration game, and I'm gonna leave it at that. Okay, so Starfield definitely does not need to be in this category, and the reason why I say that is because I feel like it's a game that just needed to be filled in. You know, people tried it, really wasn't hitting or anything, and moved on. Like, and I feel like Octopath Traveler 2 was robbed because Starfield was in it. Um, like Octopath Traveler 2 has a better story, great graphics. The musical score is phenomenal. Literally one of the best orchestrated or even just studio like electronic score for 2023. Like it is literally that's good. Um and a lot of people just feel like that game was robbed. And to think about it is a lot of people it was available for PlayStation 4, soon come to Xbox. Of course it's a Switch game. Um People who did play it gave it enough praise, gave it a lot of praise, and it got a lot of good reviews and sales. Um and they're hoping that, you know, people get a chance to play this game before the Game Awards and stuff. But like Starfield, I definitely would have took it out of this. I just don't think it deserves a spot because of like the low ratings. Some of the gameplay was janky. Um and I'm not saying that, you know, people didn't
It
give
is a
this game
Bethesda
a
game.
try. Right. It's I think there was a lot of things they could have did better with this game. You know, and I know it was the one is one of the most anticipated game from Microsoft for this year, but that game came and went. And you know, and I know there's some Xbox players who do love this game and feel like they should give it definitely a try. But I feel like Octopath Traveler 2 rated and did so much for RPGs than Starfield did. So I would have took Starfield off. Now I will say um Sea of Stars is a great RPG, but it's a great indie game because it pays. I'm like, it's not doing anything different or anything. You know, it looked at a previous series and got inspired to make that game. Liza P, I wouldn't give it to because it's just a Souls game. There's tons of those. You did a lot of the boss fights and the design is different, yeah, but you did the same. You did the same actions before, and it never changes or evolves. I can't really speak on to Baldur's Gate 3 until I played. So my vote actually went to Final Fantasy 16 for this one. Um, what about you, Corey?
I mean, I think this category is a huge mess. I would, I think they're, I mean, in my opinion, I think the only reason why Starfield is on here is because there are no Xbox nominations at all for anything, uh, except for Hi-Fi Rush has best art direction, and I think
And
it's in
Forza
another.
Motorsport
Yeah,
got
but
best racing.
yeah, but nobody cares about best racing, dude. I mean, it's FIFA and
True,
Forza.
but
It's FIFA, Forza, and Gran Turismo every year. I think Hot
true,
Wheels
but
is in
I'm
this
like,
one, but
what Xbox released three high profile games this year?
uh, well, four technically if you count Redfall.
Yeah, Redfall. Sorry, I
Uh,
missed that one.
uh, but I think out of all of I mean, I think Baldur's Gate is almost a lock in every single category that it's in, just because of the way
Yeah,
that people talk about it, and
yeah.
I don't know. Good for them. Good for Larian, though. I mean, I'm glad Larian is doing what they are doing, and I'm glad they're getting recognized. I would almost argue Final Fantasy 16 is not an RPG. Also, the way that you argued Starfield isn't one, which
Mm.
Starfield. I think when you think of the actual term of role playing, right? I think it takes the RPG really literal, right? In terms of like a Dungeons and Dragons or something like that, right? But I don't think it's a true Western RPG that people like really. I would say Liza P is more of a RPG than Starfield is, because I think Souls games are more action RPGs. I I hate the term Souls like or Soulsborne because it's just an action RPG. It's just a really difficult action RPG. But I would argue that Liza P is you know I, I I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't. Final Fantasy 16 to me a action game with RPG elements is what I would call it. That doesn't
Or
mean it's
like
not a
Nitty
great
Nation,
game, right? But I think,
like Nitty Nation says, RPG elements. I
yeah.
love Nitty.
So
That is, and that's why I feel like if Octopath Traveler was in this as a nomination, it would be between Baldur's Gate or that game.
yeah, I almost think that, and this would be way too difficult to do every year, but I almost think they should separate JRPGs and Western RPGs into separate categories, in my opinion.
And then there won't be that many Western RPGs because
Well,
there's a
I mean,
lot of
I
JRPGs.
would argue there wouldn't be that many JRPGs to fill a spot.
Shoot, there be. Should you be surprised?
um, but I think Baldur's Gate for me is probably the lock. I mean, I know a lot of
Mm.
people would like to Sea of Stars also. For the most part, I have seen some turn on that game recently, but I do think that game, from what I played, was definitely JRPG, and the production was there. Right, I got bored of it though, like real quick. I don't know. I didn't play that much Final Fantasy 16 either. I only played the demo, but I loved the demo. I loved it to the point where like I want to play the game, but I think Baldur's Gate is the lock here. Unfortunately, not
Yeah,
unfortunately, but it seems it seems like the hipster pick, if that makes sense. you like the I mean, I have no doubt it's an amazing game because Larian does amazing work. I just feel like
yeah, that
Baldur's Gate's never been popular, you know,
right,
in
and
in the
that's why I
main
said
sense.
right, and that's why I said I couldn't vote for it because I haven't played it. Now, Final Fantasy 16, from what I see and everything, even though I still haven't played that neither, I just I didn't really have no options because I don't think Starfield deserves it. Lies of P, I personally felt like I said was a Souls game that you've done before, and I feel like Sea of Stars is more of an indie game for RPG than it does, because Octopath Traveler has just crushed at the game. So I
Yeah.
had no choice but to go with Final Fantasy 16 for me.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Yeah. I mean, if it was up to me in this category, which it's not, I guess, and I guess everybody would thank me for not doing that, but I think for me out of this, I personally would pick Final Fantasy 16 because that's the game I liked the most that I played out of these. I
mm,
don't think Starfield deserves to be here at all. I agree with you. I think Lies of P has the biggest chance of winning over Baldur's Gate, but I still think Baldur's Gate is the lock.
yeah, I think Baldur's Gate 3 is going to get it.
Yeah.
All right, Corey, your turn.
Oh, right. Man, I didn't pick one. Okay, so I'm going to go to best art direction. There are some interesting ones in here. Some that I question being in here, but that's okay. Alan Wake 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Lies of P, Super Mario Wonder, and Tears of the Kingdom. Now, for me, I would probably go with Hi-Fi Rush with
Same.
Mario Wonder coming in second for me. I think Zelda, ironically, is the one that maybe shouldn't be in here because it's just building on what happened beforehand, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it looks exactly like Breath of the Wild. And I'm not saying it looks bad. I'm just saying we've seen this before and it doesn't do anything different from uh for the most part from Breath of the Wild. I think Lies of P has a really interesting aesthetic. I think it does deserve to be here. But I don't think it's going to win. I think this is the category that Hi-Fi Rush wins. Uh, Alan Wake 2 is interesting. I haven't played it and I haven't seen enough of it to judge it, so I don't know if it deserves to be here. I'm sure in the Alan Wake's dark zone or whatever he calls it does some pretty weird and wacky things. But I haven't played enough of it to make a judgment call here. But for me, Hi-Fi Rush would win here, and Mario Wonder probably second. I'm actually shocked that Sea of Stars isn't in this list, to be honest, because that pixel art is
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. It's amazing looking. And I'm also a little bit surprised that maybe something like Octopath isn't in here either. Although that's also building off what it did before in the first one, so maybe that would be the Zelda argument there. But yeah, that would be my pick. Would be Hi-Fi Rush and Mario.
Okay, so Hi-Fi Rush would definitely be my pick.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would take Liza P out of this and replace this with Pikmin 4. Um,
Yeah, but Pikmin doesn't do
because
anything different from the other games. They all look the
no,
same.
but this is the thing about it is that Nintendo did this on Unreal and it looks phenomenal.
It's Mario's not on
Ochi,
Unreal.
no, I'm talking about Pikmin 4.
Oh, Pikmin 4. Never mind. I thought you said
That's what I
Mario.
said. I said I would take Liza P off and do Pikmin 4 because of how that game looks with Nintendo. Because like Nintendo doing a game on Unreal and Pikmin 4 looking that gorgeous. The Ochi, the Pikmin, the areas, the rooms and stuff. It all looks so good, and it got me thinking. Be like, okay, so y'all played with Unreal to make this game. When Switch 2 or your next console come out, are y'all gonna play around with Unreal again? And what are you gonna play around with? And how good is it going to be? Because it really just made me think, just like, man, I wish more people would have played this game and just see. Yeah, it's cute and everything, but it looks so amazing. It's so clean. It's just beautiful. Alan Wake 2, yes, like I said, it looks great in this presentation. But it's kind of dark and muddy in some areas and stuff. It is scary. Don't get me wrong with that. The live cutscene parts are good. Um, but it's just like we seen this with Quantum Break and we seen this with Control. Not knocking those games because they look great too. It's just that Alan Wake 2 is a great presentation and look and everything. So if it wants to have it, so if people feel like it's earned its art direction, I could see why. But Liza P, I would take off. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, even though yes, it still had its art decision, there was still a lot in here that felt different and everything, and a little bit more detail and stuff. So it leads me to believe that when their next system comes out, if they decide to go with this art style or anything, there'll be more work and more detail and everything. Super Mario Brothers, yes, that earns the spot too because of not just the way that the game looks, but the animation of those characters when they're doing stuff. High Five Rush is just a beautiful game all around and everything. They really Tingo Gameworks really put some work into designing this game. And it's really beautiful to look at in movement and everything. So, but I agree with you, Corey. My vote was High Five Rush for this.
Yeah. I don't know what else would be in this category. I mean, I said Sea of Stars and Octopath, but you know, that's just me. Ed, I believe it is your turn.
Yes. So, I'm gonna go with best narrative for this one. I was thinking about Games of Impact, but I'm just like a lot of that we haven't played really. So best narrative, Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, Final Fantasy 16, and Marvel's Spider-Man 2. So I had to so I voted for Alan Wake 2 because that's the only story that I know. With this presentation and the way that it tells a better story than the first one. It really does. I love actually Saga's story and just the way that she interacts with some of the characters. And I like how Auntie from Control is in Alan Wake 2 and plays a part with this gang. Um Cyberpunk 2077 Festival Liberty, I haven't played it. Baldur's Gate 3, haven't played. Final Fantasy 16, haven't played. Marvel Spider-Man 2, I haven't played. So I had to disqualify all four of those games because I don't know their story or narrative on what they're presenting. But Alan Wake 2 does a better job with this cat in this category. So I went with Alan Wake 2. Corey, you probably got more to say due to the fact that you played Marvel Spider-Man 2. But I don't know how you feel about all the other games.
So I also haven't played any of these except for Spider-Man. Except for I did play the demo of Final Fantasy 16, and I do have to say that story really intrigued me. I've also heard from a lot of people that I trust that Phantom Liberty's story is like one of the best stories that they've heard, and like the way that
Yeah.
game kind of the way that expansion changed Cyberpunk overall,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of choice making and all that stuff is, you know, I think it deserves to be here. I think I think Alan Wake 2 is going to win this. I do not think based based on what I know from all 5 of these games, I would tell you Spider-Man 2 is the one that shouldn't be on this list, although I'm not sure what I would replace it with. Maybe Star
Octopath
Wars,
Traveler 2. But
maybe
Star Wars Jedi Fallen,
mhm.
Jedi Survivor, yeah, I can see that.
Because I think but I also think that story has a lot to do with the performance, and if we do
Mm-hmm.
that category, that would maybe be where I would talk about this, but I think uh Deborah Wilson and Cameron Monaghan and the other cast members of that game make the story. You know, it's not necessarily like the most amazing story ever told, but it's told
Mm-hmm.
really well. And I think that's what I like most about it is that it's one of the best. Like this, what they're doing with the Star Wars Jedi series, with Fallen Order first and then this one, is some of the best Star Wars stories that I think I've ever watched. Not that I'm like a huge Star Wars fan or anything, but um, I would put the story in line with maybe some of the stuff they're doing on TV right now. Uh, and I don't know if it's just because the performances are so good or what, but I think I would have put that on this list. Uh, with that said, like Baldur's Gate 3 being in this, like I don't know how the story is told based on your choices or whatever, but the fact
Mm-hmm.
that they have so many choices you can make and like the game kind of changes based on what you're doing in the game, right? And I'm not
Yeah.
talking like the way Mass Effect does it, where like, oh, you're the bad guy, so you're going to get the bad ending or whatever. And like the choices, like the story is kind of predetermined on the major choices that you make in Mass Effect, where this, if you kill somebody, your main quest changes if you killed a quest giver, right? And like
Yes.
I I think I think trying to write a story around that sounds terrifying. And if they pull it off the way that people kind of want it to, then yes, it definitely deserves it. But I also think like, how can you judge a game that has best narrative if there's so many outcomes that you don't know all of them? You know,
Yeah.
and so that would be my only worry with that. Whereas Alan Wake 2, which is the game I think is going to win this category, uh, really has a narrative. You just change characters and then you progress through their narrative, and then when you switch back, you progress through their narrative. But the narrative
Mm-hmm.
is a set narrative, right? Uh,
Yes.
so I wonder how a choice based game compares to a narrative game and a narrative that's already set. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
So I I would take Final Fantasy 16 and Marvel Spider-Man 2 out of this. Um and I would replace it definitely with Octopath Traveler, but I also would replace it with Hi-Fi Rush. Cause those stories and the way that they're presented, the voice acting and everything, but just the stories themselves is really strong. Hi-Fi Rush is just a ball of fun. It's just like this is a video game story. Um and like Octopath Traveler 2, yeah, you get 8 different stories, but they all mean something. They all have heart. They all have different emotions, and you really feel a lot for um some of the things that happen in this game, and your chest it, it does it so well that your mouth continues to drop and surprised that this style of game went there. And you're just like, wait, what? Oh no! And it just grabs you and it stays with you to the end of that game. Like, there are times that you're going to put the controller down because you do not want to progress because of how good the narrative is in that game.
Hmm.
So, Corey, it's your turn. Number 3.
All right. So my third category, let's go to instead of I was gonna go best indie game, but instead of best indie game, I kind of wanna go to, let's see here. Man, I kind of want to do best action game, but maybe I'll save that. I want to go to best. Here's what I want to do. I want to do best. Where is that category? The best community one, because I have a lot to say about that one.
Best community support.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find it on this list here. There it is. Okay. So the nominees here are Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 16 or 14, Final Fantasy 14, and No Man's Sky. Mm-hmm. So as someone who's super involved in the Destiny 2 community, I want to say that community is, in my opinion, unmatched to the rest of gaming, period. Bungie's community. Now, I'm talking outside of, the layoffs, although the layoffs do play into why I think this community is so close and so supportive and so, for the most part, supportive and is really just different from any other community that I've ever seen. Like when the layoffs happened, they crucified Pete Parsons and the higher ups when they let a bunch of people go that we communicate with the community, communicates with on almost a daily basis because they were the community managers. And I even have become friendly with one of them, right? And I wouldn't say we're friends, but we communicate, outside of that community. Outside of the Bungie, you're the social media person, right? Or the community person. And so the way that the community rallied around these people who got laid off and, tried to show support and kind of were with the people who have been a part of this community, whether they're involved, they've been at Bungie for a long time or not, was really powerful in terms of community support. Now, how that changes into next year and after the final shape comes out, it remains to be seen. But right now, I think the community, even though the game isn't where people want it to be, and even though it seems like the community isn't as involved because the game isn't in the best of places right now, in terms of just the game, not even necessarily the studio. I still think the Destiny community comes together all the time for things like this and really bands together regardless of differences in thoughts on the game and where it is. So my vote 100% would be for Destiny 2's community.
I will say this before you go on. Just the passing of Lance Reddick just showed you the support of the community for Destiny 2. There has never been an ongoing game that has had that much support for an actor who's been in different stuff, who passed away. And to see how I think for about almost 2 days after his passing, and all the stuff that they did in and out of Destiny 2, that's a strong community.
Yeah, I would. It was longer than 2 days. It was like a month or longer.
Oh, there was more? Okay.
Yeah, and then even when they brought Keith David in to replace Lance Reddick, they made it a point to kind of say, hey, we don't really want to do this, but the game has to keep going regardless of, of whatever. I mean, they said it more eloquently than I just did.
Yeah.
But they said, we've brought in the best replacement we think we could have brought in, and that is Keith David. And everybody rallied around Keith David and saying, please, take care of this role. This character is super important to us. And Keith David even made a video about the community reach out to him and saying, you know,
Mm-hmm.
with all the kindness and welcoming him into the community and being a part of it. And, uh, you know, it was a big deal when they recast Zavala outside of Lance Reddick, and you have to do. And I think, yeah, I think Keith David sounds different than Lance Reddick, but I think the cadence of their voices are the same, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you could have picked anybody better to be Zavala. Uh,
The
and so,
performance matched
mhm,
uh
yeah,
in the presentation.
yeah, and so I think that community, bar none, you know, I know that the community can be really difficult sometimes, but what community isn't? And a passionate community at
Yeah.
that. But I think when the things that matter, uh, you know, when they come to a head, like the community is there to support the side that needs supported or the person that needs supported. And this year has been really rough for the Destiny community, but the big moments, people have been there and supported. And I don't know if any other community has that closeness. You know,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, communities can support a game, and like Baldur's Gate, for example, is one. I know that game was in early access, and the community gave them support for years, you know, financially and on Steam threads and Reddit threads and all these kind of things. But you know, these people in Bungie, like, you find them in Crucible matches, you find them out in the world playing, you interact with them on Twitter and on, you know, Destiny's groups and pages, and uh, the way you just interact with the people that worked at Bungie was different than I've seen in any other community besides Halo, but that was also Bungie, you know? And so, my opinion, Destiny 2 should win this, regardless of all the negative things that have happened within the last couple months,
Mm-hmm.
because it's based on community support and not the studio.
I think Destiny 2 is gonna win this. Even with the layoffs and stuff, I think they voted it. This is gonna sound weird. They might have voted it out of spite to let Sony and Bungie know this is how much we support your game, and what you did was wrong. Yeah, we got you guys war, but this is to show you how much this game means, and what you did was wrong
Mm-hmm.
and everything. Now, Cyberpunk definitely doesn't need to be here because when it first got released, this game got crucified from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Baldur's Gate 3, I respect it. Final Fantasy 14 has always been a great community.
Yeah.
Like it's been supportive. They've been helping new players who've been getting into it. So mad respect to Final Fantasy 14. I wouldn't be mad if that game won and
Mm-hmm.
everything. I don't know the community for No Man's Sky because that was another game that got crucified at the beginning. It may have been approved, but
Yeah.
between Destiny 2 and Final Fantasy 14, I have to give it to Destiny 2.
Yeah. I mean, No Man's Sky's community has been pretty important to that game's success after its failure or
Mm-hmm.
whatever you want to call it. But I don't know if it's strong enough to compete with a Destiny style community. I think some of these, I think some of these are just spot fillers. I think Cyberpunk is definitely a spot filler. Um, or not. I think Yes, I said Cyberpunk, right? Cyberpunk is a spot filler. I think Baldur's Gate 3 might be too new. You know, I mean, I know PC has
Mm-hmm.
supported it
Yeah.
for years, but I think that community is too new to maybe show any sort of support or ongoing support, I should say, uh, in terms of a 1.0 release. So that would be that. I would say Destiny 2 followed by Final Fantasy would be the two picks for me to
Yeah.
win. But Ed,
All
it's your
right.
turn. We're going back to you.
All right. So we're doing best family game. Disney
The
Illusion
Nintendo,
Island,
it is the Nintendo category.
Party Animals, Pikmin 4, Sonic Superstars, Super Mario Brothers Wonder. Um, this This one was a hard one for me, Corey.
Yeah.
Like I was able to do the sim games. I gave that to Pikmin 4. So, but this one was hard. Um, Party Animals, no, because I don't know who plays that. Disney. So you got three Nintendo games because people probably don't realize Disney Illusion Island was published by Nintendo, so it is a first party game. Um, Pikmin 4 and Super Mario Brothers Wonder. I got Sonic Superstars. I respect it. I need to play it. But I'm glad that it's on this list because I feel like it does earn a spot. Pikmin 4 and Super Mario Brothers Wonder was a very hard decision. And I had to go with Pikmin 4. I'm not saying that Mario Wonder is no, actually, sorry. I had to go with Mario Wonder for this one. I went with Pikmin 4 for Sims game. Pikmin 4 is a great game, but I don't think it's a family game that kids could get into. Because there's a lot of multitasking, and not a lot of kids are able to multitask. It's a great family game and everything, but it's not in the sense that you as a parent going to help your kid get through this. Like Disney Illusion Island, you could get through that game with some people. Party Animals, it's a multiplayer fun game. Everybody can laugh. Pikmin 4 takes a little bit more skill and a little bit more challenge and thought out planning. So it needs like I don't think a family member would be able to help because it might frustrate them too and everything. Sonic Superstars and Mario Brothers Wonder, of course you can play with a family. But to be four elephants running around or you as a family going through the Wonder Sea lands and everything and seeing the piranhas sing, I still love that. I had to go with Super Mario Brothers Wonder for this one.
For me, hold on, I lost the page. Sorry. I'm getting there. Everybody relax. Getting there. Getting there. There it is. I think for me, I mean, none of these really scream family games. I mean, for me, like in terms of a multiplayer aspect, uh, Disney Illusion Island, Sonic, and Mario Wonder all kind of have similar vibes to them.
Yes.
I personally think Pikmin 4 would be too hard for children and or families to play together. I think Party Animals is like a cheap if looks like a cheap drinking game that you would play at some like nerds party in college or something. Sonic, man, I think Mario is a wonderful experience for people. I would actually think the popularity of Sonic, honestly, might make this game edge out the other two. Although Disney is pretty family friendly, there's no combat in that game. You know, a parent could easily play that with their kid that understands how to move and jump by themselves. There's an easy mode there where they can't die. And then Mario Wonder, obviously, you can play two players with a parent being like Mario or Luigi or Princess Peach or whatever, and then the kid being Nabbit or Yoshi, right? And kind of complete the game that way.
Yeah.
So I guess I think I just talked myself out of Sonic Superstars. I think it's going to be Mario Wonder because I think it's the most popular game on this list. But I wouldn't count out Disney Illusion Island either.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a really roundabout way of saying that.
All right, Corey, this is your fourth category before we get into the game of the year discussion.
Okay. So, man, I'm like really thirsty. My next category, I'm going to go, let's see here. I think we did this already. Oh my gosh, this website really sucks. All right, I'm gonna do something real dumb. I'm just gonna go to best action game and see what's in this list. So Armored Core, Fires of Rubicon, Dead Island 2, Ghost Runner 2, Hi-Fi Rush, and Remnant 2. I think this category is really interesting because it has a lot of games that we haven't talked about yet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think, man, the way people talked about Remnant 2 this year, uh, I mean, that and Hi-Fi Rush, I think, are going to have a hard time fighting each other out for this one. Uh,
I don't think so.
I do. I honestly think Remnant edges out Hi-Fi Rush. Remnant was a
I
huge deal, especially
mm-hmm.
especially in the Destiny community and the Fortnite community, because it was a game that had those hooks in it, but was very different from those games at the same time. I know a lot of people that ditched Destiny to play this game, and that's when Destiny the month and a half to 2 months this game was like at the top of its game. Destiny had an all-time low of player counts. Well, not an all-time low, but like it was the lowest player count they've had since like Curse of Osiris or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
And so for me, taking that into account, and also like Fortnite having a downer season, and Hi-Fi Rush coming out so early in the year, and not having a lot of buzz out after January, to be honest, I think Remnant is going to win this. uh I man, I really think Remnant's going to win this.
So I had to
You're going to disagree, I get it.
uh
Let's move on. Let's
disagree.
get it out. Get it out.
Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. As many people as played that game and shown the action as like pure action to fit this core category, it has to be Armored Core 6. I've seen so many. I don't know how well the game sold or anything, but I've seen so many people enjoying this game and just showing the crazy action this game has to offer. I'm just like, oh man, and that's why I'm kind of mad that it's not on sale for Black Friday. Um, and just the like, it's a little bit frustrating and everything, but just the movement, the smoothness of it, and everything, it really feels like an action-packed game and everything. Remnant 2, it is another, like I said, Black Friday. Hi-Fi Rush is action, but that's kind of stylized action, and it doesn't evolve more from there and stuff. Dead Island 2 is action, but it's kind of like basic zombie comedic action. I don't think it's like fast paced enough like uh Armored Core 6. In Ghost Runner 2, I heard that it has some problems and stuff and everything.
Um,
So my choice is Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon.
yeah, my concern, like I thought about that too, but my concern with um Armored Core 6 is that it's just way too complicated for a mass audience and a mass appeal.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Whereas, Remnant was complicated, but in a way that was easy to access, whereas Armored Core, I feel, is it's a hardcore mech game where customization really counts, and you have to really be smart about upgrading your mech down to like, you know, if you're lighter, you have to, if you want to be a fast mech, you got to be lighter. If you want to be a heavy tank, you got to be, you know, add weight and add defense. It's just this really hardcore game that I don't know if a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people would get into, uh, except for people who enjoy the hardcore. Obviously, FromSoft players probably tried it out because they're fans of Dark Souls and they understand that it's going to be a hardcore
Yeah.
game in some fashion. But at the same time, I think that game is just too complicated for mass appeal.
And don't get me wrong, Remnant 2 is good. It's still a Soulsy kind of game, but it changed its direction. It made it more gun focused and a little bit more melee for it and
It's like
everything.
a honestly, it's like Outriders, but people like it.
Yeah, that was the thing about it. I heard a lot of good, like I said, I heard a lot of good things. I can't wait to play it and get through this game because I always felt like, even with the first Remnant, that it felt like a good game to be shooting in than it did for melee in a sense.
Yeah. Plus, it's like
So,
a lot of the stuff in Remnant is super wacky. Like you can dress up like a cowboy or an alien or an astronaut. You know, like there's so many different things you can dress up as in that game with the armor sets. You know, which makes it kind of
mhm,
goofy and fun and appealing. You know, to be honest.
yes,
Plus, it has the loot draw the way that Destiny and Outriders do, and that draws a lot of people in. Uh, you know, and also like the one thing that uh, people like about it is that every time you start a campaign, the worlds change
hmm,
because it's kind of procedurally generated, but it's more like the parts of the world are designed specifically to fit into a rotator that makes your worlds feel different, but they're actually crafted to be that way, if that makes sense. Where like
yeah,
you could play through a campaign and you go through the one of the levels and there's a puzzle on the left and then there's a secret room on the right, and then the next time you play through that campaign, uh you know, the puzzle doesn't exist and then you can't get to the secret room, and then or the puzzle is like in a different part of the game and then you have to backtrack to this side room, right? So uh I think that gives people the feeling of the game feeling fresh when you play it over and over again.
yeah,
So that would be my opinion. I honestly think Remnant's going to win. I think Hi-Fi Rush is would be an interesting win here, but I also think that there are other categories where people want that to win, you know, specifically best art direction and maybe even best music uh, because of the
well,
soundtrack.
Corey, we're gonna take a break and we'll be right back, everybody. And we are back, everyone. So,
Ed had to poop.
I had to use the bathroom. I had to use the restroom, I should say. Um, Corey, we gotta be more dignified. We gotta be more professional.
Hmm. Hmm.
You was into parent mode.
Nope. No, you want to
Introduce your
hear something
smart.
funny before we move into the next category? So
Yeah.
I have a poop emoji pillow over here for some reason. I don't
Hmm.
remember how I got it or where I got it or why I have it, but my daughter thinks it's ice cream, and it's really hard to explain to her that it's poop. So, fun fact
Because of
about my
that
life, everybody. That's my life.
parenting. Well, everybody, we're gonna get into my fourth category, and we're gonna talk about the best game direction. The nominees are Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. I think Mario Bros. Wonder should win this one.
Which category are we doing?
Best game direction.
Mm.
And the reason being is for me is because I love this new direction they're taking Mario into and everything. You know, yes, you can think of it's just new Super Mario Bros. Wonder with no, it's more than that. Um, it really surpasses the expectations. The enemies are more a little bit more threatening and like really have a reaction when you are attacking them and stuff. The new powers are amazing and it changes the way that we look at 2D platformers and gameplay and everything. It's not just getting a power up and trying to survive through the level. It's more than that. It's just like we are going to challenge your skills in some areas, but that's only if you want to. But then we're gonna change your perception. Okay, you on the 2D plane, now we're gonna change it to this one that's top down. How do you get through a world through this and everything? And you have a time limit and everything. Or, all of these animals are running. Like, how do you stand on them? Or do you outrun them and stuff? Like, you really don't know what you're getting until you literally play that level. And then there are hints and stuff that encourage you to play with other people, to reveal some of the stuff to progress, and everything. So I really love this idea of going, like, it's just not a normal 2D Mario game. It's something completely else. Yes, the Legend Tears of the Kingdom is taking Breath of the Wild and expanding it, but it's not much change. Marvel Spider-Man 2, not much change. Baldur's Gate 3, can't really say much. Alan Wake 2, they changed the perspective, but still not much change because you still got to use that dumb flashlight to make enemies visible and then shoot them, and then it's like you still have scarce resources. So nothing about that has changed or
Mm-hmm.
anything.
Yeah.
So my thing would be Super Mario Brothers Wonder, because they really did something different, and it feels like they could continue to evolve from that and do something different.
Mm-hmm. Uh, Man, this is gonna be a weird one for me. Whichever game doesn't win game, like whatever game doesn't win game of the year, they're gonna win this category. Like the second place, that's like this is like the second place game of the year award. I feel like, uh, but I would like to see. I would say I would like to see Mario Wonder win, but in my opinion, as much as I've played, it hasn't really done anything new or interesting for the 2D Mario games, except for like the art direction is different and looks amazing. And has new abilities, and like the wonder stuff, like the wonder flower stuff, like it's cool, but it's not like the big game changer everybody was suggesting it was going to be. And maybe I'm not far enough yet, but like so far to me that I don't feel any different about Mario Wonder than I have the past 2D Mario games.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Not to say it's not good. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it doesn't really move the needle for me in terms of 2D Mario games. Uh, Spider-Man 2, I don't think it's good. This is a spot filler for me. I think it's a great Spider-Man game. It has great characters and everything, but I don't think it deserves to win. I also don't think Tears of the Kingdom deserves to win. I honestly think this is the Alan Wake 2 category to win. I think what they're doing, from what I've heard, people like about this game, the way they utilize the characters and switch between them, and the weird stuff that happens, and the way they're finally connecting it to Control and maybe other games in the future. I think a lot of people want this to be connected to Quantum Break as well. Uh, which I think if Microsoft sold them back the rights to that, they would totally
Mm-hmm.
connect it. Uh, but I mean, Baldur's Gate 3 has done a lot for that franchise and that studio and the way people think about choice-based video games. So maybe that would win, but I think this is Alan Wake 2's category to lose, in my opinion. So also everybody
Okay.
loves Remedy right now. So
Yeah.
uh, but that's just my opinion. I wouldn't be surprised if Alan Wake 2 or Baldur's Gate 3 won this. But I think it's going to be between those two. But I think Alan Wake has the edge, which means Baldur's Gate 3 will probably win Game of the Year.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, whoever loses this category wins Game of the Year out of those two.
It should be better than what won last year. Oh goodness, it
I don't even
takes
remember what
two.
won last year. I'm going to be
It
totally
takes
honest.
two.
Was that last year?
That
Or was
was
that 2
last
years
year.
ago?
No, that was last year.
Well, I think
No,
2020. No, that
no,
was 2021.
21.
Last year was God of War
Yeah, God of War
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok. Yeah, because that one kid got up at the end, and
Yeah,
everyone's like, "Who the heck is that?" So yeah,
yeah,
it was 21. Oh goodness, I'm sorry.
yeah. All right. Well, Ed, I guess we should probably talk about Game of the Year nominees,
Yes,
which are Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So, like I said, I think Alan Wake 2 and Baldur's Gate 3 are the heavy favorites in terms of what the industry might be saying. But also, a lot of Nintendo people vote at this thing. And I'm wondering if Zelda sneaks one out again this year. I'm, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if Zelda won. I still think it's between Alan Wake 2 and Baldur's Gate 3,
I actually
but
think it's between.
not I would not be surprised if Zelda won.
I think it was between Baldur's Gate 3 and Zelda. I don't think it's Alan Wake and everything. Um, and that's not a knock against Alan Wake. I don't really disagree with you, Corey, but I think
Uh,
between though I think Alan Wake 2 has its problems, but I think because of a certain level in that game got people all kind of looking forward to more Remedy stuff. You know, it's the control kind of part where there is a certain rock level that you go through, and they use that template for Alan Wake 2. So I think that is probably why, but that doesn't forgive all the other nonsense that game has. I think Baldur's Gate 3 and uh not Alan Wake's goodness, Baldur's Gate 3 and Zelda are the ones that's gonna battle it out in everything.
mhm.
Because yeah, like you said, the Nintendo people are gonna vote and everything. Um but Baldur's Gate 3 also has a big community of the PC people that's voting. No
Yeah.
disrespect to Marvel, Resident Evil, or Wonder. Those games are great and deserve to be in this category and stuff. Well, not Resident Evil 4. I
Hmm.
will, like I said, Octopath Traveler will go with that. Um, but I think Tears is going to take it. I feel like Tears is going to take it because I think it just offered so much and offered something different. And not saying that doesn't also say that Baldur's Gate 3 doesn't offer anything different. It just feels like that Tears um is more of a visual thing and so much a social media thing. Um that got more people into it. Yeah, it was hyped up and everything, but there was just been so much visual that gamers were presenting out from that game. When it comes to Baldur's Gate 3, I don't see that kind of visual. I hear it, which is fine. I hear it or read it, but in the medium that we are in, if you could get more people catching onto it in a visual aspect, then you
Mhm.
know that is doing something. They just announced one of the colleges is using Tears of the Kingdom for their engineering class.
Mhm.
So that's a bigger impact than Baldur's Gate 3. I seen that title. I was just like, wait a minute. A university, American university, is taking a Japanese game from a system that people thought was for kids and using that game for them to engineer, to learn it, and be able to present
Yeah.
ideas. I don't
Yeah.
even think there's been no other game that has done that. Well, besides the cardboard stuff, you know, the way that people got creative with that and everything. But for a video game in this time to do that, I feel like that should win Game of the Year. It won't. It should though, because I think Baldur's Gate 3 is gonna take it, but I think Zelda should win it, and I think it has a chance to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people also are concerned that like Zelda won't win because they have to split the votes with Mario, and Nintendo people will split the votes. But I mean, Breath of the Wild won, and that came out the same year as Mario Odyssey. So, you know, and I think Mario Odyssey, in terms of, you know, the game industry appeal, is more popular than Mario Wonder. Although I think, you know, Mario Wonder has more mass appeal. I still think Zelda will outdo Mario Wonder, and I honestly think Spider-Man, Resident Evil, and Mario Wonder are spot fillers on this list. So if one of those won, I would be shocked over the. You know, I thought Alan Wake 2 would be in the running for this, but now you've talked me out of it, and I think it's between Baldur's Gate and Zelda. I don't know. This is a fun debate. I mean, obviously the Nintendo fan in me would want Zelda to win over everything. But I also like, I don't know. I think a lot of people love Alan Wake and Baldur's Gate. So
yeah,
man,
this is the thing about it. Out of all just the first party games throughout this year, from Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony, Nintendo has the highest with 96 Metacritic, being for Tears of the Kingdom. For a third party out of this year, I think it is Baldur's Gate with a 97. With it, so much respect to that and everything. I think everything else, the only other 90 that's in this list, actually no, Marvel Spider-Man did 91, Mario Wonder did 93. I think Alan Wake and Resident Evil is like 89, 88 or 89 for Metacritic.
Yeah. I don't know, man. So, I just want it to be... I'm really interested to see who's going to win. I kind of hope it's Zelda, but my honest opinion is that it's going to be Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, same. That's what I think so.
Yeah. But that's it. We did it.
Yes, we did it. Well, everybody, we don't have any questions or anything. We don't really have any last words. But we do want to say, hopefully everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Hopefully you voted for the Game Awards, and I hope you guys do watch along with it to see who wins. Hopefully we get some new reveals, some surprise game announcements. Will Nintendo be there? Question mark. Will Microsoft be there? Question mark. So the reason why I didn't say Sony is because I don't know what they have planned for the future after Spider-Man. Microsoft got some stuff. Nintendo has some stuff. We just don't know what Sony has with that. But with that, everybody, have a great week, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time on Nintendo Pow Block. Bye, everybody. Woohoo!
Goodbye. If you want to be a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushMedia, and find out which tier is right for you. Our Patreon producers at the $5 tier or higher for this month are Adriel Munger, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dirrig, Francisco Santillan, and Rebecca Jewell. Thank you for your continued support.